Hello, my fellow frogs and happy people. How's everyone doing? You may not be happy yet, but I'm hoping that I'm guiding you into the right direction to be happy. Welcome to Cassie's Corner. This is my little corner in the world of YouTube. I woke up again today not feeling quite myself. So if you notice something amiss, that's it. I don't want anyone to get huffy puffy about it. Sorry, guys. Um, so I am here to direct you, not teach you, not preach to you, not. I want to give you suggestions from somebody who has suffered severe depression so deep that I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. There was no end of the tunnel. That tunnel was closed off. It was dark. It was a very dark tunnel, but I went through it. I got through it. I found the light. I actually did it all on my own. And in saying that, while I'm alone, I will announce that there is also some narcissism in my family. So when you're not right in your head, you kind of want to steer clear of people that are not right in their head. And it was kind of hard because this is actually my spouse. And I know I shouldn't be talking about him, but I think he has some severe narcissistic tendencies. Like a minute ago, he was working on the bathroom and he was like, cough, cough. You know, he did a cough and he was like, cough, cough, pretty boy. And I'm like, who says that to themselves? Who says that to themselves? Or like if we're driving in traffic and I realize everybody's worried about where they're going, what's happening with them and in their car and what's safety for them. I got that. But he acts like he is the only person on the road, and when he's driving, the traffic should just open up for him. Oh, thanks for pulling out in front of me. I mean, it could have been anybody this person pulled out in front of. It was a dangerous situation. I understand what he's saying, but I also, the undertone that he's the only person on the road is what I get from it. So, in essence, we are all sort of narcissists. We all have to take care of ourselves. We all have to think what's best for us, and we negate what other people are going through or could be going through or anything like that. So we are all, everybody gets mad when I say that. We all have a tendency to be narcissistic, but the way he does it is kind of bizarre. Forgive me for that. We're not talking about me. We're talking about you. We want to get you well. So don't worry about what I'm doing because I figured my crap out. Just saying. Just wanted to let you know that that was one of the things holding me down. That was one of the things that I could not grasp. That somebody, I was like, what about me? What about me? Somebody care for me? You're not talking about, in my sadness, of course, in my lowest point. And I did come off as a little narcissistic, but the way my husband handled it was not the best. And that's why I always tell you, I did it on my own. I was alone when I did this. I was by myself. I was completely by myself, emotionally, spiritually, other than God being there for me. I just felt like nobody was really there for me because nobody was, other than my pastor friend, and I've talked about him before too. He's amazing. He's just absolutely amazing. Even in there were times that I would just get on the call and just scream at him for no reason, but he was still there for me, and he still called, and he still made sure I was okay. Even to this day, he would call a couple of days, like every other day or whatever, to make sure that I'm okay, and to, he does tell me I'm an amazing person. Just reiterates that for me. So I'm just like, okay. So my name is Cassie. I'm in YouTube's little corner, and this is where I usually go when I'm shy, when I'm in a party, when I'm around people that I don't know. I usually end up in the corner. So if you want to join me in my corner, that's fine. You're more than welcome. I love it. I'm comfortable here. You can put baby in the corner. Baby's cool. This is my favorite spot. I'm actually in a corner. I kind of reserved a corner of my room for. I kind of am in a corner, but We're here to talk about depressive behaviors, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not any kind of professional anything except for a housewife. Maybe I don't know that I would be a professional. Nobody's really a professional mom because we don't always get it right. What I do, I am a professional housewife. I do not work, so I have studied in the medical field. I have had psychology. I've had a psychiatrist. I've had, so I know what has worked for me, and all I can do is just offer what I know to you, and that way you can do what you can with what you have and come out on a better scope of things. Come out with a better, refreshed mind, and maybe heal yourself like I did. I don't know. I have a strong willpower, so that was kind of helped me a lot too. So anyway, we read a day as a journal, like January 15th, January 16th, January 17th, and we read from the Daily Stoic. I make sure that I show the book all the time, so that way when you come to it in a bookstore, you think you found it in a thrift shop or whatever, that you will pick it up and maybe study the words yourself and go into a deep detail about what this is. But I feel like this is more along the lines of how Jesus probably behaved on the earth. Even though it is a philosophy, so to speak, I feel like a lot of his behavior represented the Stoics in their philosophy, because he was quiet and he didn't get upset and he didn't make people mad, and he wasn't all about the the revenge of things. He wasn't trying to avenge anyone. He was just, he just spoke. And even though his words could carry weight, he didn't do it in a bad way, in like a hateful way like we can be. Sometimes people say things and, I was called stupid and dumb and the R word a lot, growing up as a kid. Because that is what I was labeled as a young child. And then some family members would use that over and over, I guess to maybe show authority over me. But if you say it now, I'm fine. I'm like, haha, I get the joke, funny. You're okay. But back when I was depressed and upset and angry at the world, it really affected me. It really hit me wrong that people would keep drilling that in my brain. I mean, the more you say it, the more I am, right? No. I had to think. They're saying it because that is how I was diagnosed. And they're saying it to exert their power over me. But I am not. So, I had to rewire my brain on my own, as I've said before, on my own, to be in a better place when that's ever said again. So I don't believe it, because I don't believe I'm the R word. I don't believe I think I'm goofy. I don't mean to be, but I'm quite goofy. I'm quite funny. I don't know. Stupid, I am not. Stupid, I am not. So we're on January 17th, lesson 17. Of the book, The Daily Stoic, and it says to reboot the real work. I am your teacher and you are learning in my school. My aim is to bring you completion, unhindered, free from compulsive behavior, unrestrained, without shame, free, flourishing, and happy, looking to God in things great and small. And your aim is to learn and diligently practice all these things. Why then don't you complete the work if you have the right aim? And I have both the right aim and the right preparation. What is missing? The work is quite feasible and is the only answer in our power. Let go of the past. We must only begin. Believe me, and you will see. And Epictetus said that in his discourses. Do you remember in school or early in life being afraid to try something because you fear you might fail? Most teenagers choose to fool around rather than exert themselves. Half-hearted, lazy effort gives them the ready-made excuse. It doesn't matter. I wasn't even trying. As we get older, failure is not so inconsequential anymore. What's at stake is not some arbitrary grade or intramural sports trophy, but the quality of life and ability to deal with the world around you. Duh. Duh. Okay. Don't let that intimidate you, though. You have the best teachers in the world, the wisest philosophers who ever lived. And not only are you capable, the professor is asking for something very simple. Just begin the work. The rest follows. So, awesome. Awesome. Just start the work. Just do the work. Just do as they ask you to. Do as your teacher asks you to. And I guess this would be back in the ancient times, and some people were still coming in with a negative attitude and still going off the rails about what somebody said about them, or probably threatening people behind the enemy lines, and just not as the Stoics felt like life should be. They're trying to give you the best quality of life. Don't challenge your teacher. Yes, I understand challenging what you know to be true and what you know not to be true. That is a thing. You can do that. Ask questions. By all means, ask questions. But don't ignore the work that's ahead. I realize that it takes work. It's going to take a lot of work to come out of this depression. It's not easy. It is demeaning, and it's dragging, and it's draining, and it's and I say demeaning because you've got to where you don't care if you're dressed, and you're failing to care for yourselves, and you're not taking showers, and you're not getting up out of bed, and you're not exercising, you're not practicing everyday social skills. It's demeaning. It's quite demeaning. I know where you are. I absolutely know where you are. You're either there or you're beginning to get there, and this is not what we want to do with ourselves. We have to keep trying to take care of ourselves, because we are all we have. We are all we have. All I have is me. All I have ever had is me. I mean, I had my grandma growing up. She's behind me. She's looking over me. I have my dogs. I don't even have my children like that anymore. I have my youngest daughter. She's there for me, and my son tries to be there for me. There's a lot in my depression that he never understood, even though he at one time suffered some depressing thoughts. He fails to understand me as a lady, my depression. So there's that. People do things differently. Guys behave a whole lot differently, and act a whole lot differently, and think a whole lot differently, more logical, I will say, than a girl does. So when a man gets depressed and their logic has been compromised, that's impressive that they would be that way. But a lot of men have been depressed, especially in the 70s and 80s. It was more men that was committing suicide, but now we got young girls. We got people online telling people to kill themselves. I'm like, why would you? I mean, why would you do that? Why would you say things like that? People are cruel. Kids are cruel. Kids can be obnoxiously cruel. I try not to be as a kid, but there were times where I was really, I was like, oh my gosh, I did not mean to say that. So I remember when my kids were growing up, especially my two girls, the one girl, the youngest girl, dealt with depression. I think the oldest girl has some depression, but it has never been addressed. But I tried to tell them, especially in their teenage years, that I love you enough, that I don't want you to have to need love from somebody else. I love you so much that should fulfill any love that you should ever need. I'm your mom. I had you. You're my baby. And I love you so much that I hope you would never beg for somebody else to love you. I don't know if it worked, especially with my older girl. But my youngest girl did marry a guy that she had a crush on in the third grade, and they've been together for quite some time. So, and they're in their 30s now, and they have a pre-teenage boy. So, That's quite awesome. I think it did kind of work for her. Now, they had boyfriends and girlfriends, between third grade and 11th grade. Of course, don't say that out loud to them because they don't acknowledge that. That was just a trial run. They didn't. They were like, no, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about any girlfriends or boyfriends. We're not going to talk about, we've been together all this time. I think it's awesome. They're awesome, awesome, awesome people, awesome parents. Freckles is just way too smart. Just way, way too smart. And they talk to him like he's a person. He matters. What his voice matters. So, I mean, he's got the best of both worlds. He's got very sensible parents. I'm proud of them. But I told them that I hoped that my love for them would shine through, that they wouldn't ever want to beg for somebody else to love them. I didn't, especially in their formative teenage years where they were just talking about, everybody was like, my boyfriend this, my boyfriend that. I never wanted them to be that way. I never wanted them to have to depend on a guy. My grandma didn't have a guy from the time she was maybe 45 the last time. I mean, I was real little. I was like 4, and she had a boyfriend, and then he went away. And then from the time I was 5 to the time I was 17, 18, I never knew her to be with another guy. There was never another guy moved in. There was never a guy at her house, ever, ever, ever. So it can be done. You can love yourself. You can know your responsibility and not have to worry about, but you got to listen to the teacher. You got to do the exercises. You got to do the work. You got to get it done. And I will repeat what I read to you yesterday, that you have to think highly of yourself because the world takes you at your estimate. Somebody thought that was very, very profound, but keep that in mind. Say that to yourself a lot. Say that to yourself a lot. You have to think highly of yourself. And my grandma did think very highly of herself. She would tell me, I don't need a man. The only thing I need a man for, and I'll hire a man, I will hire a man to do that. He will come and I will do, like if I need you work in my yard, or if I need this done, or if I need somebody to put up a screen door or whatever, I'll hire a man to do it and I'll pay him, but he needs to go. He ain't staying here. So that was my role model. That was who I was. And here I am married for 30 some odd years. Here I am married for 30 some odd years. So you really have to put in the work. You really have to put in the exercises. You really have to adhere to what your teacher is teaching you, whether your teacher be God, whether it be the Stoic work, whether it be life. Life can teach you. Life is a teacher. You learn something new every day. Whether it's yourself, you are your best teacher. You can do something, you can fail at it, you do something again, you fail at it again, do something differently, you fail at it again until you find the right formula. Now, I'm not a firm believer in that Thomas Edison acted on his own ideas. I am a firm believer that he took most of his ideas from someone else. But the fact that he put it in a tangible product, the fact that it got done, and he failed like 1,142 times. That's common knowledge, at the light bulb, just the light bulb. 1,142 times. I think that's the number. I could be wrong. It could be more than that. But he failed so many times, but he never gave up. He kept teaching himself the different ways that it can be done, and he got it done. Wonderful. Some of the actors and actresses were told they weren't fit enough to act. They didn't know how to act. They had no talent whatsoever. And then they end up being multi-billionaire box office hit movies. I think Lucille Ball was one of those people where she was told she didn't do anything for other companies. And then she had to develop her Desilu, which was her own company with Desi Arnaz. Think about what you're saying. Can you imagine? I always wanted to be famous. I always wanted to be a singer. But my role model at the time, and I'm going to do this real quick because I'm really not feeling good. and then my husband probably will get back soon, but my role model at the time, I was 4 years old. So this was 75, 76, was Phyllis Diller. I wanted to be Phyllis Diller. I wanted the feather boa. I wanted the big earrings. I wanted to shine on TV like she did. Now, I didn't think she was pretty or anything, but I wanted to have that confidence oozing from me. I wanted to have that ability to laugh and the ability to be able to sing, and with her big 70s earrings and the feather boa in her hair and things like that. And I know everybody's laughing at me, but I don't care. I don't care. Phyllis Diller was what I wanted to be when I was growing up. And I remember practicing like with a hairbrush at the hairbrush end. And my brother would laugh at me for doing it. But that is who I wanted. That's who I wanted to be when I was growing up. Do you think that Hollywood really considered her seriously? Probably not, because she wasn't the most attractive person. She had a personality way out of this world, and I feel like she was talented enough. But think of her first coming on, and everybody's like, "What? You? No." I'm sure she got told no several times. Meryl Streep is like at the top of her game right now. She's everywhere. I just feel like she's everywhere, and everything she says is so prominent and so constructive that she was actually told as a young child, as a young person, 19, 20 years old, when she first got to Hollywood, she wasn't attractive enough to make movies. What? So, I mean, those are things you have to think about when you're in this deep, dark depression. People have been told no. People have been rejected. There are a lot more people. Marlee Matlin, she's like deaf, and works on reading lips and sign language to get her through daily life. But she's made a few movies. She's an actress. There's things like that. People that you see every day have some sort of disability, or they're living with some kind of life-altering disease or whatever, but they're still out there. They're just still fulfilling their dreams. Never forget that. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And if you want to get up out of that bed and not be sad anymore, you can do that too. You just have to listen to the teacher. Do the work. Get the hard stuff done. It'll come easier as you do it day by day. So say your affirmations. Find people to be grateful for. Make sure you laugh. Think the best about yourself, because everybody else is taking you at your estimate. Remember, think highly of yourself. Because so we're getting there. We're getting there. I hope I'm getting to you people. I hope I'm making sense to everybody, because this is really important. That I don't imagine you sitting there laying in bed. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I've been there. I have been there. The worst that you have ever felt, I probably felt that and more. No joke. Please don't feel bad about yourself. You are everything to someone. Even if you're everything to yourself, you have to think so highly of yourself that you are everything to you. And let's not be narcissistic. Again, everyone has a tendency to be narcissistic. I got that. I do have that. But having a bad outlook on life and then dealing with a narcissistic person where this person is taking all your ideas and is using everything that you say and twisting it to where it fits their narrative. I mean, it can kind of be degrading, but please look over that. Especially if, most depressive people I know do have some type of narcissistic person in their life. My mom could have been considered a narcissistic person because it was all about her. My sister. So, we're dealing with that. We're just going to ignore them because they're sick in their mind too. But the more I come out of what I'm coming out of, the more I can shine. Because, and it's not like I want to shine over people. It's just, somebody said to me the other day that anybody could see the goodness in you. Anybody with eyes can see the goodness, that light in you. And I thought that was very sweet for them to say. They didn't have to, and this is someone that knows me personally. Someone I worked with. So that was sweet. You didn't have to say that. Y'all have a good day. Please find that great big yellow elf. It looks like we may have some snow tomorrow morning. We'll see. They keep saying it, and then they're like, no, no, no. And then they say it again, and it's like, no, no, no. So I'm not a weatherman. I do know it's cold. I do know it's cold in the house. I do know I don't like the cold. But it's going to be here. It's something I can't control. I can't worry about it. Y'all have a marvelous, marvelous day. Continue to have a beautiful weekend. Find that great big belly laugh. Find somebody, even if it's a chef, even if it's somebody, a waitress. You know, I love how you've tended to me. You've been awesome. You know, I love how, you know, you're nice and you know, you're not coming at me with an attitude. Thank someone. Be appreciative, because that kindness is very contagious, and it can cross over, and you can start to be kind to yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. You have to give yourself a break. Everybody else is screaming, give me a break. Why are you nagging me? You know? But you have to think of that way for yourself. Why are you being so mean to yourself? Why are you expecting so much out of yourself and not... Why do you expect so much out of yourself, but you're not trying to take care of yourself? Really? Give yourself a break, because you deserve that. Go easy on yourself. Be graceful with yourself. And I'm not saying it's for indefinite. I'm not saying that. Just for now. Just when you know you're not feeling well, when you know your brain's not well, please take care of yourself. Be easy on yourself, because you are all you have. You are all you have. You are all you have. You know, you may have children, you may have a spouse, you may have, you know, but you've got to take care of your cup before you can fill someone else's cup. You can't cook a good meal while you're sad and mad and angry at the world. My husband used to tell me that. You don't cook with... He tells me that I can make cardboard taste good, so I can cook. I just don't like to. But I guess when I was at my lowest point in trying to take care of the kids and the children, I would just be so mad and so frustrated that I would just get in there and barely cook. I would just flap, 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 flap. You know, think about your cooking dinner. Everybody can taste how you feel. And talk about it. Talk about it to somebody. Tell somebody how you feel, because nobody knows. Especially if you're like me and you're very stubborn and you want to do things on your own. Talk about how you feel. Tell somebody how you feel. I didn't want to tell him, because he would turn it into a war. And I would talk to my girls. And that's probably not what I should have done, because they were children. But I couldn't talk to him because, like I said, it would become a war. And it still would if I was to go to him and say, hey, please don't blah, 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 blah. I make the money. I pay the bills. I can do what I want to. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy your weekend. And I will see you tomorrow. I will see you. See the world like a poet and an artist is tomorrow's title. And we're still in the chapter of clarity for January clarity. We're clearing out our minds, clearing out those cobwebs, clearing out those dust bunnies that just do not belong there before our brain just bursts with something stupid. Okay? So, see you tomorrow. I'm thinking about y'all. And I'm hoping that everybody is in a positive, great mood. See you then. Bye-bye.